Okay. Welcome to our first ever Mibio Minute. I'm Michael Spiegler, and we're here with a good friend, Vincent Cafiso of Practical Compliance Results, who we tapped as our first guest for his experience and relevance in the regulatory space. And today we're speaking to him regarding some very dense and hard to find data in an FDA recall database, one of many we have at Mibio IQ. And Vincent, why don't you kick it off and tell us a bit about yourself and what you're interested in discovering today?
So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Vin, and I am the founder and managing consultant for my consultancy. And what I do in this consultancy is to help companies with FDA matters. And a lot of my clients will sometimes come to me with questions about whether or not something should be a recall, or whether or not some other competitor has done a recall of a similar nature. So, I will usually go into the FDA recall database. And if you've ever done that, you know that it's not easy to go in there and find information. So instead of me having to go in and find a, recall for wrong size or something like that, right? I just thought, well, hey, maybe the Mibio is something that can actually do this really quickly, as opposed to me spending, hours trying to figure out how to do it. So that's kind of what led me to this sort of conundrum, and to see, how hard it would be to do it without Mibio, and then to see maybe how much easier it would be with the AI.
Yeah, that's the right thinking. Great question. Let's see what it can do. Let's put it to the test in real time. So I'm going to turn it over to the founder of Mibio and the maker of the Mibio IQ AI system, Ian Rubin de la Borboya. And he's going to get into it. Ian, you want to take it away?
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for the information. And Vin, thanks for the questions as well. So let's kick it off first by going to the data, I'd say. Let me share my screen.
Has there ever been a recall for something described as being the reason, wrong size,
Okay.
or something, where, the cause can, so if I have a client that comes to me and says, we're not really sure if we should recall this, have other companies recalled this for a similar problem? And so maybe, the wrong size on the labeling or something like that might be something that I might get asked.
Great question. So the first category I put in here for size was from the FDA. So the FDA doesn't show anything that's with the term size. And we can narrow these things down later as well. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if our AI insights were able to find anything for size as well. And so there weren't. So it looks like the descriptors might be within certain pieces of the information within the reason why. And so now I'm going to dive into the third piece and see maybe that language is in there within size. Now there is information that detects about size, and we can look here and it says has certain pieces about size being 14 FR for certain things, and we can filter information down accordingly from that. But what we're getting now just from size as being the reason is going to be about 1,010 recalls. Most recently 45 in the last year. Now, if you want to back it out a little bit, we can actually go look at label and see maybe if they had it more classified as label information. So once again, we go to the FDA one and we go to label. And we can see here that the FDA does have 3,045 where there were issues with label. Now, it could be something with size, and you'd have to take a look at that as well. Now, from the AI standpoint, we can also see that there are some extra details put in there as well. Incorrect label, sterilization process expiration, damage, infection, software issues, things of that nature. So we're trying to add more key tags so you can refine to the small quantity that you're looking for that's going to meet your needs. that's the critical piece to this. Is that on one system you can look here and you can say label and you can say size, and you're
You
not
don't
going to
get
get
anything come
anything
up.
necessarily because the language
Yeah.
wasn't in there. However, not being able to take a look at what I can pick and choose for things that I don't know really kind of is an issue with the current system. Where with the new system, you can simply sit there and you can pick and choose things you might not already
Mhm.
know to narrow down the information quickly to find exactly what you're looking for.
Right. Then what do you think in terms of clinical? Are people spending a lot of time on these .gov databases and getting nowhere, or what is a typical lift for you versus what
I
you
mean,
could do with the IQ?
yeah, I mean, I think that's the issue is that I'm getting I'm getting these questions, and it's, I think, because they are not able to navigate the way that they want to. They can go in there and they could do a search, and or I can do the search, but I'm going to get capped at 500 results. Those results are not going to be really, other than a couple of basic search or filtering functions that you see
Sure.
here. You just have the max of 500, that you're not going to get more than that. And you have to drill into every single one of these to really see if you can find that keyword of wrong size or what have you. So it really, the data is there. Yes, it's absolutely there, but it's just almost impossible to really,
Mm.
because you just don't know. There's really like no end in sight, honestly. When you go in to do this kind of a search, there's really no end in sight. So you can't say like, all right, I'm going to do this. It's going to take me 15 minutes. I'm going to get the answer. If I knew that I would budget the 15 minutes that I would do it, but I may not find anything in 15 minutes that my client is asking me
Right.
about. And so I have to go another 15 minutes, and then before you know it, you're spending an hour in there and you don't really even have the answer, right? We just basically were able to parse down label, wrong size, labeling issues, and find and exact numbers, right? Because FDA just says,
Yeah.
you got 500 caps, so you don't know if it's 501 or 5,000. You just know that it's more than 500. Whereas this, you actually can parse out the exact cause, not only attributed by FDA, but attributed by the manufacturer
Yeah.
with the keyword that you're looking for. And then you can drill down, and then it'll take you to the record in the FDA database. So you're not missing out on what's in the database. It's just a matter of filtering it to the point where you could then go and get what you want, and what would take you, potentially an infinite amount of time could take you minutes. And I could easily get the information that I was asking for, and then be able to go back to the client and say, yes, this is probably going to be a recall, and we've seen 16 of these almost exact cases issued to FDA by industry, like, within the
Mm.
last year, right? So I can have that amount of data, that
Yeah.
amount of response to them, and help them make informed decisions.
Yeah. So to recap, you're talking more like the needles in the haystacks is what makes the difference for clinical teams, regulatory professionals. So again, you're finding the right data quickly, and that's going to matter for just about everybody from, large OEM clinical teams to, independent consultants, because they're still tasked with the same lift, same databases. So something that can work alongside these things and help parse you through it is going to be that much more valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this also being very, very useful for teams that have to do risk management. And
Excellent.
they
Yeah.
need to know, what is the potential risk for this particular device? We haven't had this product on the market for us, it's new to us. So let's see what other recalls there could be, and let's see what potentially are the reasons for these recalls. And some of the reasons could be a clinical reason. Some of them could be a production or process reason, right? So that would help inform you on controls that you need to have in place in your own company to prevent these from happening. So this would be another use for this, I think.
Excellent.
So you bring up a really good point too, because a good example is if I'm going in there looking for a cause to be processed, I might not know that there's process control, packaging process control, process design, software design, manufacturing process, or reprocessing controls. So the fact that I go in there with one term, but not necessarily knowing if I'm capturing everything is really, really critical, I think.
And not missing those things, Ian. You spent a little bit of time in regulatory space too, in the iteration product design space. Not missing those extra bits of information that the IQ is able to distill how much more value is that? Because now, you're not missing those things, or what essentially is a regulatory clinical professional going to pull from the fact that they were looking for one thing, but they found 6 other items?
Great question. So you're only you want to have as much information as you can to make the best decision. However, there could be limitations. Just simply the amount of time to do it, the fact that you might not capture everything. There's also human error that occurs, and anything that's going to be there to help try to minimize that, so you can ease the data lift, but yet be able to validate it immediately, is going to be something that's going to be an advantage, just to be able to have a completed design history file to be able to help support whatever you're doing.
Well, I think that covers a lot. Vince, do you have anything else, or you want to? You didn't drop the name of your company. If you want a quick little plug for yourself at the end of where can people find you?
Yeah, well, Practical Compliance Results is the name of the company. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me, by my name on LinkedIn, and certainly my website is that same name. So happy to hear from folks, and thank you for this tutorial. This demo has been really, it actually made me think of a few things that I wasn't thinking of prior. So
Excellent.
good job.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
And Ian, you are able to be found at mibio.io.
Yes,
that's the
that's
site for people
correct.
to learn
That's
more
correct.
about this?
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, we'll wrap it up there. This went a little bit longer because this is our maiden voyage, but thank you for riding through these waters with us. We're gonna have a lot more because we do have more. There are more databases on the IQ, a lot more insights to distill. So really, what we want to do is also open up to regulatory, clinical, life science, or anybody with a burning curiosity on where the data might lie, where these needles might lie in these haystacks, because there are plenty of them. So definitely, I am available. Also, Michael at mibiomed.org. So you can ping me also if you have any questions, if you want to be on a future episode. We're going to keep it short, snappy, and to the point, which we hopefully did. We bid you adieu, and looking forward to doing this again with you, Ian and Vincent. All right.
Sounds good.
Everyone have a good day out there.